My name is Rich Tuck, and I'm the owner of the Wall Tent Shop. Today we're going to present a video on accessories for the tent and the stove. The most important accessory you can buy for your tent is a fly. It covers the entire roof and extends out to the sides 1 foot on each side. That fly will make your tent last years and years longer by having that fly on your tent roof. There are 4 main benefits of the fly. A fly is just a fancy word for a tarp. The tarp goes on top of your tent and protects the tent. Now on our flies, we have an opening in the fly that corresponds to the opening of the stove jack and your tent canvas on your roof. Now when you're not using the stove, the fly can be attached with Velcro. When you want to use the stove, you just open it up and there are ties on the back of this that tie your flap high so it doesn't interfere with your stovepipe. Now on the fly, one of the major benefits is ultraviolet protection. Your tent roof is the first thing that goes on a tent. This fly protects your tent from ultraviolet, and that ultraviolet, if you leave a hose outside in the summertime, you'll see what it does to that. It just destroys canvas and the threads over long periods of time. Another major benefit, it's a moisture barrier. On your roof line, you have thousands and thousands of needle holes when they're assembling and making this tent. And this fly covers your entire tent and it extends 1 foot past the sides, so you won't have any problems with leak at any time with the fly on there. Another benefit is cleanliness. When you camp underneath trees, rain and pitch and tar comes off those trees. When you get pitch and tar on top of your canvas, the only way to remove it is with a harsh detergent. And that harsh detergent removes the water, mildew, and also the fire treatment. And when you do that, then what you have is a leak in your tent at that specific location. As far as spark holes, every tent will eventually get spark holes in the roof if you have a fire going. It is much better to have a pinhole in your fly than a pinhole in your tent, because with a pinhole in your fly, all you have to do is put a piece of tape over it and you've got a functional fly again. But again, if you can't afford any other accessory, this is by far the most important accessory that you can get with your tent. And it comes with 200 feet of rope, also the tensioners, and a fly bag. Again, I can't stress this one enough. If you want to take care of your tent for long periods of time, this is what you want to buy. Now, the next accessory we have, these are my reduced price accessories. These reduced price accessories are only valid when you purchase them and ship with a tent or a stove. I'm just trying to pass on some of the savings at my reduced cost when I do this. What we have here is an inline spark arrestor. It fits right on top of the stove, and it's a spark arrestor on top of the stove. And to clean it, all you do is just take this screen out, take it outside, hit it a couple of times. It takes 5 or 10 seconds to do that. Now, on top of your stovepipe is what we call a ring cap spark arrestor. And these are great, but they will get clogged quickly if you're using soft wood or low quality wood. Inside this, you'll see a series of screens in there. And that screen will get clogged, again, if you use low quality wood or softwood. And to clean this, you have to take down all this pipe section, get to the top, take this off, clean it, then reassemble it. It takes some time to do that. So it just makes life much more enjoyable when you use an inline spark arrestor. And the savings on this one is $22 if you buy it with a stove or a wilderness tent. Now, I just want to show you something. This is what a lot of other competitors use for a spark arrestor. This spark arrestor gets clogged up easy, and just not something I would recommend, but a lot of my competitors have this as a spark arrestor, and it just doesn't work very well. You can see how easy it would be to get clogged up. Again, this is a $22 savings on the inline spark arrestor. The next reduced price is the stove mat. The stove mat goes underneath the stove, and it protects it. If you have a floor or something else, you don't want to ever put a stove on top of a floor that can melt or something that will catch on fire. And you can see we got it oversized, so if you open the door, anything falls out, it falls out right on top of that fire mat. This fire mat is actually a welder's blanket. That's how strong it is. You can put a torch to it and it won't burn. Now, there's a $15 saving on the fire mat. The next one is our heat shield. Looks exactly like the fire mat, but some people like to have a heat shield. Is it absolutely necessary? No, but some people just want the peace of mind that if the wind starts blowing or you get extremely hot stove, that nothing will happen to that sidewall. Again, this is a $15 saving on our heat shield. Now, before I leave the stove, this is our deluxe model. It has the water tank with it, and inside you'll see a grate. But this is an accessory that goes with our YUKON stoves and Wilderness stoves. And this stove here is our YUKON 5 Deluxe. Now the next accessory I'm going to show you is our coat rack. The coat rack attaches to the angle on your wall there. I really like these. When I go hunting, everyone that goes hunting with me has a coat rack, so I like to keep my tent organized. What I use it for is when I go hunting, I have my bugle, my cow call, my hunting belt, my binoculars, my cap, so in the morning I'm ready to go and I'm not looking for anything. There's a $10 savings on this coat rack. Now, on the bottom of your tent leg, I recommend rubber caps. There's a $10 savings on rubber caps, again ordered with the tent or the stove. You can see your leg sits on top of the floor and the sod cloth. And over time you'll put holes in your floor and sod cloth if you don't have something protecting it from that sharp leg at the bottom. And those are a new feature we've added in the last year or two. Now, what we have here are the stakes. We have 3 models, the 12, the 18 with the double T. My favorite is the double T. When you put this in the ground, you always put the stake in at a 45-degree angle away from the tent. The bottom T, you attach your ropes from your eaves to this one, your fly ropes to this one. What that does is gives you a separation between the top of the tent roof and the gap between your fly. So you have air going underneath your tent and drying it out if it's ever windy or fresh and rainy. The next one we have, and there's a $10 saving on stakes if you buy it with the tent or the YUKON or Wilderness stove. We have frame bags. There's a $10 saving on frame bags. And the sizes vary from 5 foot to 9 foot. And what you do is put your frame inside these tents, inside the tent frames bags. And these frame bags make it very convenient for you, because when you put your tent away for the winter, you put that in a box or in a bag. You put your frame away in these bags here also, so when you know when you get ready to go camping next year, you've got all your supplies and you have your frame. Now, on the other side of the tent, we have other accessories that are not at reduced prices. Again, everything I said earlier, we have savings from either $8 to $22 on. Now, this is our nylon cupboard. I really like this one also. It has zippers on the sides. You can zip this down, and then you're totally mouse-proof and bug-proof. Most cabinets or kitchen cupboards don't have that, but you can see we've got 2 zippers right here if I folded this down, we could bring it right down like that. But this is, I just don't like flies or rodents anywhere near my food. The next accessory is a bow rack. The bow rack is in 2 pieces. It attaches to the wall poles, wall eave poles, and you can get 3 of the bows in there. Our next accessory is a gun rack. Don't pay any attention to the appearance of my rifles. I paint my rifles when I go hunting. I paint my scope and I camouflage myself and my gear. Everything's camouflaged, but don't pay attention. These are high quality rifles that look like hell because they've been painted. But you can put 6 of your rifles in this. It's very convenient. You got a place where your rifles are at. You're just not laying them on the floor or on your bed. The next accessory we have is a tent pouch. It's good to have this, you know, if you want to keep your flashlight, things that you want to get to in a hurry, or even something with your kitchen that you can put it in there. But this is very convenient just to store things you want to get in a hurry. Another accessory we have is what we call leg anchors. These leg anchors go on the bottom of your wall legs. They're normally used on a platform. You put them down like that, you screw them in, and that way your frame cannot go anywhere. You need to have your frame really down tight on your platform, because the wind blows, this smooth surface on plywood or whatever will go ahead and slide off, then you got real problems. So I very strongly recommend leg anchors on platforms. And I've got 1 page on my 10 info guide that explains platforms that should help you a lot. Now, the next one we have here is a aluminum shelf. You can buy these with 1 shelf or 2 shelves on the website. I usually have mine above my kitchen table, my cooking area anyway, and then I can see most of my items right there in front of me at one time. Some people like to cut their rafters down. Our next accessory is a sleeve, and the sleeve connects the rafters. Some people like to have 2-piece rafters because, like on a 16-foot tent, this rafter is 9 feet. On a 14-foot tent, 14 wide, it's 8 feet. So what you do is cut your rafters in half. One end goes in like that, the other just like this, and there's a small piece of metal in the middle of it that prevents it from sliding through. You can see where that's at right now. What I suggest you do, if you like the sleeve type of attachment, just go ahead and put some glue in there, and that way you'll always have your sleeve with a rafter. Some people like to have a T in their tent roof. Like right here, if you're expecting extremely heavy tent loads, you would just cut your pipe in half there, slip this T in there, and then you'd have another piece of pipe coming down like this that would support the roof. Most of the time, it's not required, but if you're experiencing heavy snow loads or exceptional snow loads, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have 1 or 2 of these T's in your roof line. But again, it's not necessary unless you get into heavy loads. Just to show you how it works, again, you'd have a piece of conduit like that, and it would go right up like that, and you can either have 1, 2, or 3 in your roof line, depends if you want to do it or not. Again, not absolutely necessary, but if you're really concerned about snow loads, this is the way to protect your frame. We also have elbows, and a lot of people have now are wanting to have a bottom frame for your tent. So what they do is just they put their elbow on the end, slide it in your leg. This would go in your next leg and work your way around a tent. Again, it's not absolutely necessary, but some people want to have elbows and T's to have a more solid frame. For those of you that are just looking at my accessories, we have also a stove jack and a flap in case you have another tent, you need to put a stove jack in it. Just a stove jack, your pipe goes through here, this is thrown onto your tent so you can modify your tent. And some people like to put stove jacks in different locations. Some like back walls, some like front walls, some like side walls, and this gives you the option to put it wherever that you would like. Now, our last accessory I'm going to discuss today is our floor. The floor is 18 ounce. If you check with my competitors, they normally have a 10 or 12 ounce. So this is at least 50% thicker than a normal floor. And why you want a tight or a strong floor is if you ever get rocks or twigs underneath your floor and you step on it, in a thin floor, it'll go right through it. This one, it's much more likely just to go up like that without putting a hole in it. Now, today, we've covered a lot of accessories, and if you have any questions on any accessory you have, you can always call us. Now, I know I cover a lot, all my videos and information guides for you, but please call us if there's something that you don't understand. We'll always take care of you.